Alrighty guys, what's going on? My name is Garen Bell. How y'all doing today? So, if you guys didn't see my last video, I kind of talked about the 2026 roadmap. It was a 26-minute long video, which is super on brand, but it was a 26-minute video, and I also recommended in my my pinned comment that I recommend people kind of put this in the background while they're farming. But this is like the main video because the next update is going to be coming out tomorrow, but I wanted to get my my thoughts and opinions out there, just so you guys kind of know where I'm at with the update. I was going to release this video tomorrow, but I didn't get a chance to. I was incredibly lazy yesterday. So with that out of the way, let's get into my thoughts and opinions. So first things first, the developer showed off was Ultimate Yujin. In terms of his design, I would say I liked it. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of the color scheme. I didn't like the fact that they traded the that kind of like tealish color for the black. I would have preferred the tealish color because I think that kind of just like screams medic. So I was not a big fan of that. But other than that, I was overall pretty positive of his design. They also did talk about the Yujin story, which is going to be a little bit more serious, which kind of makes sense when you think about like the White Knight Gulch storyline and stuff like that. His ultimate skin was kind of meh. I'll be honest with you. I like the body. I like the body portion. I didn't like the head portion. I wish I could buy them individually because I did not like that helmet whatsoever. And so they also showed him off with 2 Transcendent modules. I forget the names of them because I forgot to put it in my notes. But basically one of them is more for like solo play and buffing yourself. But it comes at the trade-off of, you know, using your abilities will take take up your health. I want to say it was called Combat Protocol, but do not quote me on that. And then he had a second Transcendent mod, which is more focused on buffing your allies, but as you're buffing your allies, you're also doing damage yourself. So it's kind of like a mixture of both. So I mean, both of them look pretty good, I would say. So I'm definitely interested in trying out Ultimate Yujin when he comes out. I should have started building regular Yujin, but I forgot. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? So yeah, so the developers also showed off the new dungeon that's going to be coming into the game. This is going to be the second Axiom Plains dungeon. This is going to be for Forbidden Sanctuary. I like the hatchery architecture, kinda, but at the end of the day, it still kind of just feels samey to everything else that we kind of get in the game, and this is why I really wish the developers would start using more of like the fortress, or kind of like that snowy biome, or using something like Echo Swamp, or you know what I mean. Like I really do feel like it's starting to really get pretty dull in terms of the dungeons. I will say I did like the what is it, Supermassive Receptor. I thought Supermassive Receptor was good, especially, you know, having the dead bride that's kind of strung up and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. So I put in my notes, dungeon seems pretty standard to what we've gotten before. But this is where things get juicy. Okay, so the new Void Abyss Grim Reaper, which is going to be a Deathstalker variant. Deathstalker, by the way, one of my favorite fights in the game. I think Deathstalker, in my opinion, was a fight that did honestly challenge perfectly. Like, I think Deathstalker was challenging in all the right ways. The mechanic wasn't super, like, annoying. It wasn't like, super challenging. I mean, it was challenging, but the mechanic was, like, really easy to explain to people compared to, say, something like Gluttony's mechanic or the Totem mechanic from Hangman. I think it was, like, I think it was, like, a reasonable challenge. You know what I mean? So I put in my notes, the fight looks like it has some good challenge to it. The Grim Reaper skin is absolute peak, okay? Let me tell you, okay? Let me tell you something. Out of all of the Void Abyss skins that we have gotten, number 1 used to be the Defiler skin. That was number 1 for me. Number 3 would have been, number 2 would have been the Lava Citadel skin. I have now changed that order to the Grim Reaper skin is number 1, Defiler number 2, Lava Citadel number 3. That skin is peak. Absolute peak. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, next up, we are getting a new external component set called Sprint Accelerator. This one was kind of weird. Now, this is where I'm starting to kind of question some of the external component sets the developers are making. So usually when we get external component sets, the sets themselves will target maybe like 1 or 2 Descendants. Like for instance, you have like the Plague set or Hazmat Disposal Team, where these sets are kind of specific to certain Descendants, or at least Hazmat Disposal Team. I can't remember the Plague set's 4-piece set bonus off the top of my head, but I know with Hazmat Disposal Team, it's all about like your custom resource and getting your custom resource, and that's how you get your like 60 plus skill power for Toxic. The thing about it is that okay, we have 2 Descendants in the game that are Toxic and use custom resource. We have Keelan and now Harris, and so the problem is that Bunny is like really the only Descendant that can really utilize Sprint Accelerator, because she's the only electric Descendant that can reach, I think in the 4-set piece bonus, it said like you had to be like 1450 speed. Once you reach like 1450 speed and you maintain that speed for a certain amount of time, that's when you get the buff. I am not a big fan of this. I'm going to be honest with you. It's really annoying that the developers purposefully made a set for Bunny. It almost feels like the developers want you to play Bunny for Grim Reaper, because Sharon still has nothing. Sharon still has nothing. I think the developers could have easily made a set that very similar to like Plague or Enlightened Mage, that was for electric Descendants, because electric Descendants, they don't have anything. They don't have anything of the sorts. They have Supernova, but Supernova's kind of mid. And I don't think the developers have ever like buffed or changed external component sets. So unless they decide to change external component sets, I don't know, man. I'm just not a big fan of them going into that direction of making external component sets specifically for one Descendant. Like, even if we think about Slayer. Like, Slayer had the 4-set piece bonus of, if an enemy is towed, you get, like, some MP generation at a 12% chance or something like that. With that, at the time when the game came out, Slayer, you still got that extra skill power, and you also got the negative side, which was the 15% increase to skill cost. So, but even still, like, more Descendant, like every Descendant could still utilize that extra skill power, even though you couldn't not every Descendant could utilize the tow. So you know what I mean? So I don't really like the fact that they're going with this, like, specifically targeting one Descendant with an external component set. I think that's just stupid, especially since the Inez and Sharon don't have that same equivalent of Plague set or Enlightened Mage or Firebrand or Volcanic or what have you. Personally like to see the developers start doing better job with external component sets. I'm sorry, I just wanted to rant about that. We're just going to kind of speed run through this. We're getting 3 new trigger modules. We're getting Infected Weapon, which they showed off with Freyna. It's going to kind of target, it's going to be like continuous damage with, if you have would it be the word, exalted weapon. I'm just going to say that. Ground Eruption, they talked about with Volby and Viessa. And then the other is Instant Acceleration. This one negates movement impairing effects on, if you have like a skill that has like negative movement impairing effects, this would negate it for like 8 seconds. Make it so you get an increase in movement speed. Not necessarily negate it, but you would get an increase in movement speed for 8 seconds. But this one's like super niche, honestly, to the point where I don't even know why they added it. It's so niche that taking up one of your trigger, this honestly should have been an ultimate module, if anything. No one would still use it, but it would have been better off as an ultimate module compared to a trigger module. We're also getting some 4 new ult modules, execution for both heavy and impact swords, Eye of Morvald, which I said specifically targets Hypernova, because Hypernova is a impact sword that scales with crit. Overpower, same thing with Hypernova as well. Then we got some monthly balance. I'm going to be pretty quick about this. Ajax was like the primary target, and I put in my notes that his changes looked pretty solid. They made it so that they changed two of his Transcendent modules, as well as giving him some buffs. They finally gave him Taunt, which is so good. I'm so happy they finally gave him Taunt. Fun story. Ajax was actually the first Descendant I played in the game. I started out the game as Ajax, so I've been waiting for the day, just silently waiting. But yeah, they changed 2 of his Transcendent modules. They even changed the name of one of them. One of them now makes it so he gets almost like a Kyle type barrier that he charges with. And then they also gave him changed one of his other Transcendent modules to make it, I think it's like Moving Fortress or something. I can't remember the name of it. But they made it so that his barriers, they gave him like a barrier that will like circle around him, and I think it also does like damage to enemies when they shoot at it. But then they also made it so that his like big dome barrier would now follow him around. So now he's like a mobile dome tank, whatever you want to say, which I thought was pretty cool. So I mean, overall the balance looked pretty good. I'll have to check him out, once the update comes out. But on the smaller note, Freyna, Volby, and Viessa are getting some balance changes, which I don't really understand why. I mean, Freyna already got some balance, got some buffs when it was what was it? It was Blair, Bunny, and Freyna that all 3 of them got some buffs. Because they weren't performing as well in Axiom Plains, so they all got buffs. So I don't really understand why Freyna's getting buffs. Volby, I don't really think Volby needs any buffs. I think what she really needs is, like, her animations are pretty... Her animations are kind of, like, clunky. And I think that's, like, the biggest problem with Volby, at least from what I played of Volby. I think her damage is relatively pretty solid, so I don't really understand what's the deal with Volby. Same thing with Viessa. Viessa is really strong, so I don't really understand why. I think what she really needs is maybe like her skills need like a little bit more range to them, or they maybe need like a little bit change to the way they are. Like, for instance, her V ability is like a cone, and it's like not really good at mobbing, so like she feels kind of clunky in like mobbing scenarios. But overall, when it comes to like damage, she's pretty good, so I don't really think she needed anything that was like, immediate. I feel like other Descendants could have used that time more than, Freyna, or could have used these balance changes more than Freyna, Volby, and Viessa. It kind of feels very, I don't know, like disillusioned, but whatever. And then the developers also said in January they're going to be adding like a smart casting for abilities like Viessa's Blizzard skill and Volby's, I forget the name of the ability, but it's the one where you can target and then she goes underwater and then she kind of splashes back out. So it's going to have like a smart targeting system. But Hive Master is going to be getting some improvements to its unique ability performance. That's what I was trying to say. Fallen Hope is also going to be getting some better synergy with Toxic Descendants' dot skills. At least that's from the words of the developers. And then Truly Deadly Arson is going to be getting a boost to its skill power for continuous damage fire skill. So it's going to be able to boost the damage output of continuous damage for fire skills. So it's pretty much kind of specifically targeting, I think, Blair in that aspect, but you might also be able to use it with Descendants like SCMO. I can't really remember what SCMO's tags, like the tags on his skills are. So yeah, but Firearms will be getting some more love moving forward. For the longest time, the developers have been focused more on Descendant balancing over weapon balancing, so it's been quite a bit since we actually got some firearm balancing. Ancestors module trading, we're finally getting that. Lounge 2.0 will be delayed, but the screenshots that they did show off did look pretty good. Like there will be like a bar, there will be like a new bigger area. It overall looked pretty good, I would say, but it will be delayed so the developers can focus more on the combat side rather than kind of like that after stuff. But yeah, overall, I would say the update was pretty decent. It's pretty standard to what we've gotten in the past. There are a couple of things I wasn't a big fan of, like the fact that they made a external component set specifically for Bunny, when I feel like they should have made an external component set that's like Enlightened Mage and Plague or Hazmat Disposal Team that was targeted towards Electric Descendants, so that we could use it for, you know, the new Void Abyss. But whatever, you know, who am I to tell the developers what to do? They want to take care of their mascot, so giving her own specific external component set, I think is bullshit. But whatever. But either way, guys, that's all I have to say in this video. That was my thoughts and opinions. If you want to see my thoughts on the 2026 roadmap, I already have a video out for that. So, but with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Garen Belmont, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.